If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 111, Bonds with Spirits. The End of Demise, King of Armageddon. The massive apocalyptic demon god shattered into ashes and vanished from the field as if the oppressive pressure over the entire arena suddenly lightened. The strange blue flames on Shell's body also faded a little, but he was still panting heavily. So, you defeated the King of the End. Shell let out a long breath. I underestimated you. You two are certainly not ordinary brats. It's not over yet. Jaden flashed 2 cards from his hand. I activate the spell card Double Attack. By discarding a monster card from my hand to the graveyard, I can select one monster on my field with a lower level than the discarded monster, and that monster can attack twice this turn. I discard level 5 elemental hero Necroshade from my hand and select the level 4 elemental hero Bublemon on the field. This turn, Bublemon can attack twice. Now, let's enter the battle phase. Jaden swung his arm, signaling his heroes to attack. First, elemental hero Sparkman, attack the face-down monster. Jaden declared, when Sparkman attacks a defense position monster, if its ATK exceeds that monster's def, the difference is inflicted as piercing damage. Then I activate my set card. Shell responded, activating a card in his back row. Trap card, Draining Shield. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, that attack is negated, and I recover life points equal to that monster's ATK. A transparent shield unfurled, shimmering with rainbow light. Sparkman's lightning attack was completely absorbed by the barrier, and the surging energy was transferred into Shell's body. Shell, LP 4800 LP 7600. Jaden, ugh, his LP increased. Then, elemental hero Bublemon, attack the set monster. Bubble shot. Bublemon crouched low, hefting his foam cannon as a stream of bubbles shot forth, washing away the face-down monster. A pot-shaped, one-eyed monster with a sinister, leering grin was revealed. Morphing Jar. Kira frowned slightly. He quietly set another troublesome card. Morphing Jar, Def 600. Morphing Jar's effect, when this card is flipped, both players discard all cards in their hands, Shell explained, then each player draws 5 cards from their deck. Hands were replaced once again, and Morphing Jar was shattered by the onslaught of bubbles. Jaden, because of double attack, this turn Bublemon can attack twice. Go, Bublemon, direct attack. Bubble shot. Bublemon fired his foam cannon, sending a barrage of bubbles exploding in Shell's face. Shell staggered back a few steps, reeling from the impact. Shell, LP 7600 LP 6000. This isn't nearly enough. Shell stubbornly got back up. Jaden, I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. He then looked apologetically at Kira, sorry, his life points increased. It's fine, you've broken his formation, Kira replied. Jaden gave him a thumbs up, I had a feeling our teamwork was invincible. Shell silently watched, his face twitching, seeming even more irritated. Companions, it's because of things like this that they become weak. Jaden, what did you say? Heroes are always alone and must be. This is the fate of one who wields the sword. Jaden pondered, then said, you keep saying that, about abandoning companions and spirits, but I don't think you've truly let go, have you? What? The sacred phoenix of Nephthys, you say it betrayed you, but you still carry it, still use that deck, don't you? Jaden said. If, as you say, your family has preserved this card for generations, and you've considered it a friend since childhood, maybe it's not so easy to give up, right? Don't be ridiculous, Shell replied coldly. Like I said, dueling is only about victory. Whether it's the Phoenix or Demise, they are just swords in the hands of duelists and only need to fulfill that role. Every weapon that can be used must be used to the utmost, that's all. Is that so? Then why did you come all the way here, to this dimension, seeking this hidden ruin? Jaden pressed. I don't think this is your first time searching. You've been wandering, searching for traces of the Phoenix, because you want to meet its spirit, don't you? Nonsense. I only want to capture the spirit's power for my use. Shell was unmoved. Or maybe I came to take revenge for its indifference all those years ago. I thought so too at first, but through dueling, I realized that's not the truth. Jaden shook his head. Dueling is a clash of hearts. From dueling, we can truly understand each other. You're strong, maybe the strongest duelist I've faced so far. You say monsters are just tools, but from our duel just now, I can feel it you trust your cards, your monsters. You're a true duelist. Shell, nonsense. Total nonsense. You can deny it all you want. Jaden pressed on. But using such words, can you convince yourself? Shell. Kira, though silent, was beginning to admire Jaden's classic talk no jutsu power, passed down through generations of protagonists. You know, after all that, Kira could faintly feel that Shell's aura had weakened. To use the Duel Academy's card drawing class terminology, it was as if Jaden's duelist momentum was suppressing Shell. Enough. Shell shook his head, speaking icily. Such nonsense. It's just a duel, what do you know? How could you possibly understand me? My turn. Draw. He drew powerfully, his card arcing through the air. At the start of the standby phase, the effect of Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys in my graveyard activates. Shell raised his voice. Because last turn Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys was destroyed by Demise, King of Armageddon's effect, its effect activates. During this standby phase, the Phoenix will resurrect in a blaze of glory. A fiery pillar shot up, and the golden Phoenix spread its wings in the green barrier, flames coalescing as its form gradually reappeared. Then Phoenix's follow-up effect activates. When revived by its effect, all spell and trap cards on the field are destroyed. Shell laughed. The combo of Demise and the Phoenix each turn King of the End wipes the field, and the next turn Phoenix resurrects and sweeps away all the back row. No set card can stand against this combo. You have no choice but destruction. Activate set card. Jaden interrupted. Trap card, disappear. Banish one card from your opponent's graveyard. Shell. Nanny? He's grave digging me? Did you just print this card on the spot? Therefore, I banish your Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys from your graveyard. Jaden said. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys is no longer in the graveyard during effect resolution, so it can't be special summoned and is banished from this duel. The Phoenix's shape flickered in midair but quickly faded into a transparent phantom. But in doing so, it broke free from the seal of Orichalcos. The binding mark on the Phoenix's forehead shattered, its translucent body burning silently in the air, looking down to meet Shell's gaze. Shell unconsciously looked up at it. For a moment, he seemed to hear a faint voice from the distant beyond, as though from another time and space. I'm sorry. Then the Phoenix image burned away completely, disappearing from the field. Shell. He was silent for a few seconds. As I thought, your bond with the spirit was never truly broken. Jaden continued, you were just blinded by evil power, right? There must have been more to what happened back then. My turn continues, entering main phase. Shell cut in coldly. Jaden frowned. In any case, talking is pointless now. I am no longer the Phoenix's heir. I am one of the 3 swordmen of New Doma, and that's all. Shell raised his head, his gaze chilling. I will defeat you here, and move forward. Chapter 112, Victory Drawn by the Heart. I am now Shell, one of New Doma's 3 swordmen, and that's enough, Shell said coldly. That's all I need. I activate from my hand the spell card Monster Reborn. Revive a monster from the graveyard. Once again, bring judgment to this filthy world. Demise, King of Armageddon, revive. The earth burned, ghostly blue flames blanketing the field. The demon's destroyed body slowly rose, returning from the underworld, as if the countdown to doomsday had resumed. Demise, King of Armageddon, ATK 2400 ATK 2900. Then, Demise, King of Armageddon, activate effect. Shell shouted. Pay 2000 life points, destroy all cards on the field. So much for your big talk in the end, only absolute power matters. All must perish. Final end. Shell, LP 6000 LP 4000. His life drained again, and Shell's face turned ashen, barely able to stand. Demise's giant axe drew in life as fuel, crashing down. Jaden's Bublemon and Sparkman were swept away, reduced to ashes by blue flames. But before Bublemon is destroyed, Jaden chained in, I activate Quick Play spell Bubble Illusion. This card can only be activated while Elemental Hero Bublemon is on the field. This turn, I can activate a trap card from my hand once. Then the flames swept everything away, banishing Jaden's 2 heroes. Another hand trap. Shell frowned. Why is this a never-ending trap combo? Ah, I watched a lot of Kira's duels recently and found his use of traps interesting. Jaden looked at Kira, scratched his head, and grinned. I thought it'd be fun to duel this way, so I wanted to try it too. Kira raised an eyebrow. Wait, wasn't Bubble Illusion always your card? Don't blame me for this. Humph, learned from that sneaky brat, hey, Shell said darkly. So, your set cards are just bait, the real trap is in your hand. But you think I'm powerless against a hand trap? You know nothing of a true duelist's power. He drew 2 cards. I set 2 cards. Then activate this from my hand. Spell card destruction. Both players discard all cards in their hands and draw the same number. Jaden was shocked, the same spell as Kira. He discarded his hand, and Shell drew new cards. Now, whatever trap you had in hand is gone. Jaden glanced regretfully at the second mirror force in his hand, placing it in the graveyard. But after drawing his new cards, his heart skipped when he saw what he drew. Shell squinted, barely able to make out the trap Jaden had sent to the graveyard. With a famous card like Mirror Force, which had already shown up twice in this duel, he could just about tell by the artwork. Your second Mirror Force dangerous. If I'd attacked, I'd have eaten that full counter. Shell sneered. Unfortunately, my duel is superior. And one of the cards I discarded with card destruction was spell card of compensation. When this card is discarded from my hand, I draw 2 more cards. OCG effect. Shell drew again, then waved. Now, enter the battle phase. Use Demise, King of Armageddon to attack directly. Demise raised his axe, targeting Jaden. But Jaden calmly revealed another card from his hand. Because of Bubble Illusion, I can activate a trap from my hand this turn. So, I activate. Trap card Mirror Force. Shell nearly coughed up blood. A third Mirror Force, unbelievable? Even Kira glanced over in shock. I thought pulling 2 Mirror Forces like in the anime was unprecedented, but here's a third. Shell was even more flustered. 4 Mirror Forces in one duel, what? He just realized, he accused them of ignorance about true dueling, but it was he who knew nothing about top-decking luck duels. Mirror Forces effect: when an opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy all attack position monsters they control. Demise's axe struck the transparent shield, and dazzling energy rebounded, sweeping across Shell's field. A magic circle spun on Shell's forehead, blue flames in his eyes. Even though his opponent's draw was unexpected, he could also top deck. Quick play spell My Body as a Shield. Pay 1500 life points to negate and destroy a card effect that would destroy a monster on the field. Shell, LP 4000 LP 2500. Gritting his teeth, he sacrificed more life points to shield Demise. Mirror Force shattered like glass under Demise's axe, and the flames swept over Kira and Jaden's side. Gah! Jaden, LP 4000 LP 1100. It felt like his soul was burning. Jaden, smoking, clutched his chest and knelt. This is the pain of a shadow duel. Shell said, exactly, this is what dueling truly is, a ritual where both sides stake their lives and souls. If you can't take it, you can still surrender. Don't be ridiculous. This is my first time in such an intense duel. Jaden stood up, ignoring the smoke, brushed off the dust, and smiled. There's no way I'll give up halfway. Dueling is about fighting until your last card and last breath. It's only fun if you never give up till the very end. Shell frowned. He enjoys these life or death duels? There are people like this in the world? Humph, then savor the end of your life. He drew 2 more cards. I set 2 more cards and end my turn. Kira, then, my turn. Draw. Shell shouted, Demise, King of Armageddon is the absolute power given by the gods, proof of my rebirth. If you think I'm wrong, then defeat him and prove it. Kira calmly revealed a card from his hand. Spell card Herald of the Abyss. Pay 1500 life points, declare 1 attribute and type, and your opponent must send a monster on their field with those qualities to the graveyard. I declare Dark attribute, Fiend type. Send your Demise, King of Armageddon to the graveyard. Shell. Chapter 113, Reflection after Reflection. Kira, LP 4000 LP 2500. Shell. Looking at Kira's surprise Herald of the Abyss, his face twitched for a while but he was speechless. Herald of the Abyss, by its effect, is a player targeting effect, forcibly making the opponent send one of their monsters to the graveyard, like a tribute. In other words, it can deal with unaffected by card effects boss monsters. They said dueling is a clash of hearts, a way to read each other's souls. If you could read anything from his soul in this duel, it would be, I don't care about any nonsense, I just want to win. And if I can have some fun while winning, even better. But you think that alone can deal with demise? Not so easy. Shell declared. Activate set card, trap card, swamp mirror. Declare an attribute and type, this card becomes a normal monster with those qualities and special summons itself. I declare dark attribute and fiend type, special summon swamp mirror as a dark fiend trap monster. Swamp mirror, ATK 1800. Then, Herald of Abyss effect resolves. Now I have 2 dark fiend monsters on the field. Shell calmly sent swamp mirror from the field to the graveyard. So, I choose the dark fiend swamp mirror to send to the graveyard. The newly summoned swamp mirror was immediately swallowed by the abyss. Ah, even this was countered, Jaden said with regret. This guy is strong. Kira, then I normal summon DD. Warrior Lady. Shell. That card's effect. He remembered, that after the battle, both monsters were banished. If it attacks Demise, he can't keep it. Another troublesome monster, Shell said darkly. Then, activate set card, trap hole. When your opponent summons a monster with 1000 plus ATK, destroy it. So DD. Warrior Lady was destroyed before she could act. But Kira didn't mind. He raised another card. Then I banish the light DD. Warrior Lady from my graveyard and the dark old vindictive magician that morphing jar discarded. Light and darkness are offered in the chaos field, summoning the legendary warrior. Black Luster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning, summon. Light and dark souls merged, chaotic energy exploded, and a mighty armored warrior appeared, golden patterns gleaming, sword slashing as if splitting heaven and earth. Black Luster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning, ATK 3000. So, the legendary warrior spirit appears. Shell muttered. Then I'll claim this spirit as well. If you can win, sure. Kira waved. Battle phase. Black Luster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning attacks Demise, King of Armageddon. Chaos double slash. Jaden held his breath. He knew the BLS had the effect to attack again after destroying a monster. Shell's LP is 2500 if he destroys Demise and attacks again, Black Luster Soldier's sword could decide the duel. But Shell was ready, activate set card. Quick play spell command silencer. Anime card. Described by Kaiba as a card that cancels an attack command, even Slifer can't attack if it can't hear the order. Command silencer prevents you from declaring an attack with Black Luster Soldier this turn. Shell said. BLS can't receive your command, so it won't attack. And then I draw a card. Though not an official card, its effect is like Threatening Roar for a single monster but can be used even after an attack is declared. So, battle phase ends, main phase 2, Kira said. Since BLS didn't attack this turn, I can use its other effect, once per turn, banish a monster on the field. He targeted Demise again. Banish Demise, King of Armageddon. Chaos Dimension slash. BLS drew its sword, one edge light, one edge dark. The sword split space, leaving a rift. Even the King of the End was sucked into the void, unable to resist. Nice. Jaden praised. If it's banished, Demise is finished. That should snap you out of it, right? Sure enough, as the demon vanished, the blue flames on Shell faded. He staggered, panting heavily. Kira drew 2 cards. I set 2 cards and end my turn. Shell gathered himself for a few seconds as if recovering strength. Then slowly raised his arm again. My turn. Draw. Shell said coldly. I activate from my hand the spell card Pre-Preparation of Rites. Add 1 ritual spell from your deck and 1 corresponding ritual monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. He drew a card from the deck and 1 from the graveyard. I add ritual spell End of the World and ritual monster Ruin, Queen of Oblivion to my hand. Jaden persisted, why won't you face your heart? Deep down, you still love dueling, and want to trust your monsters. Enough. Shell said. Even if I want to trust, so what? Trust only exists to be betrayed in the end. Heroes are destined to be alone. As long as you wield the sword, those you care for and protect will only drift further away. He paused, looking at Jaden for a moment. You're right, dueling is a clash of hearts, letting us deeply understand each other. So, through this duel, I can understand you too. What's your name? Jaden Yuki. Jaden Yuki, hey. Maybe you are like me. Shell said. You seem passionate, always willing to help others, treating everyone like a friend. But in truth, you never let anyone get close to you, did you? Jaden was taken aback, frowning, I don't get what you mean. I'm not like you, I have lots of friends I trust. Do you? Shell said coldly. I was like you once. I was chosen, the one in my generation to inherit the Phoenix's power. I was always surrounded by friends. I helped them countless times, even willing to risk my life for them. But in the end, when I sought power and entered darkness, when I finally had the power to protect them, fought, and bled for them, they'd all left me. It's ironic, right? I sold my soul to the devil to protect them, but it only drove them further away. Afterward, rumors spread that I'd brought all the disasters and enemies upon us. Those I'd thought of as closest, who I'd helped time and again, believed the rumors. In the end, it became like this. Jaden, how could that? Later I realized, it wasn't just their fault, it was mine too. I treated everyone warmly, but never let anyone truly get close or understand me. Maybe that's why they could leave so easily in the end. Shell's voice was calm as if speaking of someone else. I can sense that you and I are alike. If you want to protect those around you, you must take up the sword, but in doing so, push them away. That's the hero's fate. If you keep walking the warrior's path, maybe you'll end up like me one day. No, he won't. Kira interrupted. Shell frowned, what? I said you're wrong. That won't happen. Kira said calmly. Shell pondered for a while, then squinted at him. You're not going to say, because I'm here, are you? Guess. Ha, ha 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 ha. Shell threw his head back laughing, then his expression twisted. Ridiculous. You won't even last this turn, what can you do? This world is cruel. How long do you think your cheap friendship games will last? Fine, if you can, try to survive this turn and prove it. Shell revealed the 2 cards he'd just searched, along with another. Ritual spell End of the World, activate. I tribute level 8 Beast King Barbaros in my hand as the ritual material for the summoning. With the intertwining of destruction and rebirth, the goddess who governs all fate descends at the end of the world. Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, ritual summoned. Amid apocalyptic ritual energy, the goddess strode forth, white hair flowing, every step a countdown to destruction. Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, ATK 2300. And Ruin accepts the power of the seal of Orichalcos, her ATK increases. Shell almost screamed. Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, ATK 2300, ATK 2800. Jaden steadied himself, focusing on the duel. Even with the boost, she's still weaker than Kira's BLS. My resolve is more than that. Shell raised another card. Equip spell Psychic Blade. Pay life points in multiples of 100, the equipped monster gains ATK/def equal to the amount paid. He gritted his teeth. I'll use my blood, my soul, to gain final power. Pay the full 2000 life points all to Ruin's ATK. Shell, LP 2500, LP 500. Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, ATK 2800, ATK 4800. Jaden, 4800 ATK. That's right. This is my soul burning, final attack. Shell steadied himself, barely able to stand. And Ruin's effect, when she destroys a monster by battle, she can attack again. Jaden immediately realized the danger. BLS's ATK is 3000, destroyed in battle, they'd take 1800 damage, leaving Kira with 700 LP. If the second attack connects, one of them will fall here. All these bonds, all this friendship game, nothing before power. Shell roared. Without power, all your fine words are empty. If you have faith, show me this turn. Battle. Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, attack Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. The power of destruction, mixed with the seal of Orichalcos, surged into the goddess's hands. BLS stood ready, but clearly couldn't withstand this blow. Kira, then, as you wish. Activate the set card. Trap card Trap of Darkness. If my LP is below 3000, pay 1000 LP, then banish another trap card in my graveyard to gain its effect. A golden light rolled across the trap card, which transformed into another trap in the graveyard. The card I'll become is, of course, Trap card Magic Cylinder. Kira, LP 2500 LP 1500. The Trap of Darkness became Magic Cylinder, the deadly twin barrels appearing. Ruin's fatal blow was reflected at Shell. So, this is your answer. At this point, Shell could barely stand, holding on through sheer will. But, it's not enough. Blue flames burned in his eyes, bloodshot. Activate set card. Trap card Ring of Destruction. Destroy one monster on the field and inflict damage to both players equal to its ATK. I choose Ruin, Queen of Oblivion. Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, ATK 4800. Shell, LP 500. Kira, LP 1500. Jaden, LP 1100. Trying to take us down with you. Kira frowned. If you can't stop me, it means you're not determined enough. Shell snarled. You can't do anything. Not necessarily. Kira interrupted, flipping his last set card. Quick play Spell of Pain. When your opponent activates a card effect that would inflict damage to you, you can banish another trap from your graveyard to make them take that damage instead. Shell's pupil shrank. A damage reflection after an attack reflection? According to Ring of Destruction, both players take damage equal to the destroyed monster's ATK. Ruins 4800 ATK, split between both. In a team duel, the damage to our side is treated as AoE, but my share is reflected at you by Spell of Pain. Thus, you take 9600 damage. Kira, you lose. The explosion from Ring of Destruction swept the field, but the fire aimed at Kira and Jaden was intercepted by the spell and bounced back at Shell. Shell opened his mouth as if to speak, but at last, said nothing, quietly closing his eyes. Shell, LP 500 LP 0. Chapter 114, The Truth. Shell, LP 0. With his life points reduced to 0, the duel ceremony came to an end. The seal of Orichalcos began to spiral and contract, slowly closing in on Shell. But at the same time, a powerful force erupted from his deck. The flames of the phoenix transformed into a towering pillar of fire, briefly morphing into a phantom image of a phoenix in midair. The fire swept across the entire field, enveloping all three duelists in its dazzling brilliance. After a blinding flash that made it impossible to keep their eyes open, an image appeared. It looked like an ancient battlefield from ages past, a world plunged into endless wailing. The sky was torn apart like a shattered painting, revealing a terrifying rift. Within that rift, it seemed as if a dreadful evil god was lurking. Its deep and cold gaze looked as though it would devour all living things. An army of monsters surged onto the battlefield like a tide, their silhouettes monstrous and grotesque under the dying sunlight. Some had horns and wore armor, some flew through the air, and some were blood-red demons whose roars shook the heavens and earth. A brutal war erupted on the ground, flames devouring everything. A burning phoenix fell from the sky, its feathers flashing brilliantly in the fire, its mournful cry echoing over the battlefield for a long time. Is this an image of the past? Jaden muttered. Though it was just a guess, they all seemed to understand what it meant. The forces of the evil god had invaded the spirit world, igniting a fierce war in a dimension unknown to humans. The fallen phoenix was probably the sacred phoenix of Nephthys. This scene was perhaps the phoenix god's way of saying, "It wasn't that I didn't want to help you back then, I was just weak and got knocked out early." The fallen phoenix dissipated, its released flames absorbed into some stone tablet. It seemed that after that battle, the phoenix god's spirit entered a sealed state. The only reason it could now send these images was by using the last bit of phoenix power that the group had just absorbed from the tribe's statue ruins. The scene shifted again, from the spirit world to reality. It was an ancient village surrounded by mountains. The warm sunlight was suddenly blocked by thick clouds, and monsters surged in from all directions. The silhouettes of various monsters flickered in the dark forests, and the village was trampled into ruins. Behind all those monsters, beneath the clouded sky, a huge black shadow watched everything with a sinister grin. On its forehead was the six-pointed star mark of Orichalcos. How could it be like this? Shell muttered in disbelief. Suddenly, he understood. No, he should have figured out long ago that there were many suspicious points about the invasion of his village. But until now, his mind had always been under Orichalcosa's influence, intentionally led to ignore these things, unable to think in that direction. Now, having lost the duel and with his soul about to dissipate, Orichalcosa's connection finally broke. Only then could the Phoenix God seize a gap to deliver the truth to him. From the very beginning, the evil monsters that invaded his home were summoned by the god of Orichalcos. They orchestrated the whole invasion, then appeared as saviors at the moment of despair, giving Shell a chance to gain power. That way, he would willingly sell his soul and work for New Doma. Kira, however, was not surprised at all. He had more or less already guessed as much. Because this was also an old trick that Old Doma loved to use. The 3 swordmen of Old Doma were recruited by similar methods. Darts, using his power to glimpse destiny, discovered the potential in Alistair, Raphael, and Valen, and decided the 3 were destined to become the 3 swordmen of Doma. So, Darts personally created childhood tragedies for them, planted seeds of darkness in their hearts, and step by step guided them to join Doma in pursuit of power, becoming his strongest swordman. An old trick, nothing new. After another burst of intense light, the vision disappeared, and the phantom body of the Phoenix God gradually faded. Its last bit of power seemed to have been completely burned away. Meanwhile, the seal of Orichalcos had shrunk to the point where it was almost touching Shell. Was I wrong? Shell gently closed his eyes and sighed deeply. Shell. Jaden tried to reach out to him. Shell looked at Jaden one last time and smiled slightly. You have good companions, he said. I hope your future will be different from mine. With that, his soul left his body, shot up into the sky mixed with the green pillar of light, and vanished into the horizon. This might have been the first time Jaden had ever witnessed, with his own eyes, someone lose their soul after being defeated in a duel. It seemed to have left a considerable impact on his young heart. Jaden's expression grew a little complicated, but Kira remained as calm as ever. He simply stepped forward, bent down, and took Shell's deck. There's nothing else we can do, Kira said solemnly, slipping the deck into his empty card box. All we can do is inherit his will and keep moving forward. And inherit his deck as well. Jaden was silent for a moment. Yet. All right, it should be dawn at the academy by now. Let's go back. They had probably only spent a single night in the spirit world, but they gained quite a lot: a skeleton deck, an insect deck, plus the Phoenix God and King of the End. But as for the latter 2, they weren't decks, just a few cards, not enough to make a full deck. Strictly speaking, Shell's deck was also a bit of a mess, mixing unrelated engines and stuffing in a bunch of even more random spell and trap supports. Yet, a sign of a strong player. Kira, now blessed by spirits and having trained at the academy for so long, was no longer a complete novice at God's draws. Even when building decks he could now be a bit bolder, but even his boldness only amounted to adding a few more obscure cards to raise the deck's ceiling. Every time he saw strong players build decks in such a wild, anything-goes way, he couldn't help but be impressed. The last bit of power in the Phoenix God's card seemed to have just run out. Though it could still be used, it had become just a normal card. But after seeing the images the Phoenix God had shown, holding this card felt just like picking up a trigger for a hidden side quest in an RPG. As for King of the End, it was hard to say. Though Demise, King of Armageddon, now looked completely ordinary in Kira's hand, with no sign of a spirit inhabiting it, in the previous duel it was clear this card was special. Kira decided it would be best not to use such mysterious cards rashly, and to study and test them first upon returning. In the world of Yu-Gi-Oh!, some cards are dangerous. Some evil cards require sacrifices to wield, and may even backfire on the duelist. Demise, King of Armageddon, seemed to be one of those. Kira summoned BLS and sliced open space with a single sword. Just before stepping into the rift, Jaden suddenly stopped. Kira turned his head. What's up? Oh, nothing, it's just... Jaden seemed to be thinking deeply for a few seconds. Then he looked up, regaining his usual cheerful smile. Even though I still don't get a lot of what that guy said, I suddenly feel really glad I came to Duel Academy and got to meet someone like you, Kira. Kira smiled slightly. Yeah, I feel the same. He turned around. Let's go. Don't keep them waiting too long. Jaden, okay. The two stepped into the rift, and after another dizzying journey, soon landed back on solid ground. Right where they had left, in Duel Academy's abandoned dormitory, in the room edged with ancient writing and Millennium item symbols. But upon opening their eyes, the first person they saw was a bit unexpected. It was Mokuba Kaiba, When Mokuba saw the two land, his eyes lit up. "Ah, you're already back." Chapter 115, Invitation from Headquarters. Just as Kira had expected, not long after they left, Chumley and Cirrus contacted the academy. A student disappearing in the old dorm was a huge deal, so the matter was reported to the school board. Kaiba Corp dispatched a team to investigate, and Mokuba, hearing about it, came along too. Kira briefly recounted their trip to the spirit dimension and what they saw, and after making a report, started chatting with Mokuba. "So, the evil god of New Doma has invaded multiple spirit dimensions at once." Mokuba mused. "You even faced one of the new 3 swordsmen? I heard none of the swordmen are pushovers." "It was just luck, really," Kira said with lingering fear. "The situation was dangerously close. Even with Jaden and I teaming up, it was a struggle to win." Mokuba cut him off mid-sentence. Yet, you should still try to strengthen your deck. You need rare cards, right?" Kira smiled. "It's always easier dealing with people you know." Mokuba knew what he wanted. "I figured you might say that before I came." Mokuba grinned. "I heard the Chaos Warrior Research Group has made some progress, thanks to your information. I think they'll be contacting you soon. When that happens, come to headquarters. I'll see what I can get for you." Kira's eyes lit up. Kaiba Corp headquarters, that could be good. He'd been considering different deck builds lately, often thinking about what his decks might lack in different situations, and naturally coming up with new ideas and constructions to fill gaps against certain opponents. Sometimes new ideas sprang from new cards, and he'd try building a new deck around a single card, like his recently completed Abyss Control deck. That deck was fairly easy to assemble, but he had a long list of ideas still missing key components. Especially after getting Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, he felt his main deck could be upgraded further. That was also the core of the World Championship deck from back then, Mutant Chaos Phoenix. You could tell from the name the 3 core cards were Metamorphosis, Black Luster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, and Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. Envoy of the Beginning was the main attacker, the strongest beater in the meta. Sacred Phoenix's 2400 ATK made it a solid fighter, with built-in resistance to removal and a heavy storm-like effect to clear spells and traps. Metamorphosis let you turn your monsters into fusion monsters as needed, letting you summon powerful fusions to handle any situation. Top-tier deck for offense and defense. But he was still missing a lot for this build. For example, fusion monsters. Maybe it was because GX was known as the fusion era, but he quickly realized fusion monsters, especially in this era, were expensive. Even the ones he didn't think much of were oddly pricey and rare. The ones available for sale were not great, and even the ones he could buy felt overpriced. The fusions he wanted just couldn't be found. Mokuba's offer was a great opportunity. Kaiba Corp headquarters should have what he needed. Time for a big shopping trip. Kaiba Corp's specialists had surrounded the old dorm, people coming and going with equipment to investigate. Kira and Mokuba chatted idly outside, asking about the president, especially the investigation into New Doma. But Mokuba just shook his head. "There's been some progress. We've taken out a lot of their hideouts and busted dark duelist groups tied to them. I think we've disrupted their operations, but it's hard to say we've hurt them at the core." Mokuba sighed. "The main thing is, we noticed too late. Dart's old Doma had roots everywhere: business, government, you name it. Even after my brother and Yugi teamed up to defeat Dart's, the organization was too big to just disappear overnight. We think the New Doma is rebuilt from those remnants, which is why it's so huge and hard to deal with." Mokuba frowned. "And there's also that hacker we've been distracted by lately." Kira asked, "The one who hacked Kaiba Land Stadium? Have you found out who it is?" "That's the problem, we haven't. It's weird, how could such a powerful hacker just appear out of nowhere? Still no trace at all." Mokuba shoved his hands in his pockets, looking frustrated. "And right at the crucial stage of developing the link system." "Link system?" Kira asked. He'd never heard of it, not in the academy or online. "Oh, right, that's not public yet. Trade secret, so I can't say much. But you'll see next time you're at HQ. Just think of it as a surprise." While they were talking, a specialist rushed up to report. "Preliminary site analysis is done, the rest will be processed at HQ, the man reported. "We think something happened here years ago, making this area's space unstable. So, if something like a spirit with supernatural power comes close, there's a chance of a dimensional rift. But it should be rare, and the readings are normal now. Something happened here years ago. Kira thought back to the original story. It must refer to the major GX plotline, the Darkness Incident. Years ago, some students here researched dark powers and contacted the final GX villain, Darkness. All those students disappeared, and the abandoned dorm became a weak spot in the dimensions. Understood. Mokuba looked at Kira. As long as you're all safe, that's what matters. That's about it for today's investigation. Go get some rest. See you in a few days. Kira gave a long yawn. Yeah, I should catch up on sleep. See ya. They'd been running around another dimension all night, and he was exhausted. Luckily, tomorrow was the weekend he planned to sleep in. Outside, teachers and students gathered to see who'd emerged from the dorm, pointing and whispering. Wow, he's chatting with Mokuba Kaiba. Who is that student? I heard he's the guy Sito Kaiba himself has his eye on. No way. Chapter 116, The New Teacher's Entrance Exam. When Kira woke up, it was already the afternoon. He got up, yawned, and lingered in bed a bit before finally jumping out. Turning around, he saw Silent Magician floating in midair, quietly reading as always. In the corner stood Black Luster Soldier, eyes closed like a silent bodyguard. At first, Kira wasn't used to waking up surrounded by people, but now he was. Morning. He greeted them, then hopped down to wash up. Black Luster Soldier didn't react, but Silent Magician glanced up from her spellbook as if silently saying, "It's nearly sunset and you call this morning." His stomach was already growling. After brushing his teeth, Kira curiously peeked over Silent Magician's shoulder to see what she was reading. He couldn't understand a word. Duelists trying to self-study magic wasn't realistic. He was better off just dueling. Silent Magician, uncomfortable under his gaze, floated away and shot him a sideways look as if asking, "What are you doing?" Kira shrugged. Nothing, just curious. He turned to wash his face. After sleeping half the day, he was hungry. At the RA Yellow Dorm cafeteria, he ordered a royal chicken curry, pumpkin curry soup, and a vegetable curry platter. The curry selection at RA Yellow Dorm was vast and the taste was great. The dorm head, known as the curry maniac, was so obsessed with curry that it influenced even his dueling, developing all kinds of curry strategies. Kira had expected the academic office to come after him today for last night's adventure at the old dorm, since in the anime after Jaden and friends snuck in, the office showed up the next morning to punish them. Then, at Professor Crowley's suggestion, they arranged a tag duel. Losers would be expelled. But now, half a day had passed with no word. Maybe they only went after Jaden and not him. That was possible. Or maybe things were more serious than the anime since they'd gone to the spirit world, so the office hadn't decided what to do. Kira didn't mind. He couldn't be expelled anyway. He just ate and habitually checked his student terminal for new card drops. Then he got a message from Professor Crowley. "There's a duel. Are you free, Kira?" Kira raised his eyebrows. "Talk about direct. Put simply, there's a duel. Come quick." Crowley's office. "Mr. Ryaga, you're impressive." Crowley, fingers interlaced under his chin, smiled at the tall young man in an obelisk blue uniform named Ryaga. "You've placed in tournaments, won 3 championships, and had a great record as a student here." Crowley flipped through the resume. "You were in the student council, right?" "Yes, I did a lot there," Ryaga replied politely. "I see. An excellent resume and your exam results so far are flawless." Crowley praised him. "Thank you, Professor Crowley." Ryaga pushed up his glasses and bowed respectfully. "So, if you pass the final practical test, you'll officially be a teacher here next year." "That's right. To be a teacher at Duel Academy, you have to be the best." Crowley leaned back, smiling. "The rules are to select the elite of the elite. You must complete the final duel. Then you'll be a full teacher next year." "Yes, Professor. I won't let you down." Ryaga nodded but secretly sneered. Yes, he wouldn't let Crowley down temporarily. Returning to his alma mater as a teacher, and joining Duel Academy, was just his first step. His goal was to enter the academy, then one day step over Crowley, the current head of practical dueling. Duel Academy was the top school, and its graduates were all elite. Ryaga believed that if he could rise to the top here, he'd get influence and resources everywhere. If things went well, he could even train loyal assistants among his students, shaping all walks of life to his will in the future. The more Ryaga imagined it, the more pleased he was. He could already see himself looking down on Crowlier from above. Humph, your days of being on top are over. Any humility is just until I take over. His goal was clear from the start. He would push this greedy professor aside and take his place. So, Professor, who will I be facing in my final exam? Ryaga was calculating but kept a humble face. Is it a teacher? Or will you duel me yourself? No, no, no. Crowlier smiled. I've arranged a special opponent for your exam, a current student. Ryaga was stunned. A student? Yes, a first year who just enrolled. As a teacher, you have to face the students. At the very least, you need to prove you are better than the top students in a duel to qualify. Crowlier leaned back, smiling. Of course, he'd forgotten how, during his exam, he'd been beaten by a certain jellyfish head underachiever. I see, that makes sense. And if I win, the students will know me, which will help my work. Ryaga barely kept his glee from showing, maintaining his humble mask. Ha, what luck! Facing a student, and a first year at that. That's a free win. Time to pop the champagne early. So, Professor, who will my opponent be? Crowlier smiled mysteriously. His name is Fujiki Kira. Chapter 117, is that exciting enough? Big bro, did you guys go to the world of dual spirits? During break time, as they walked down the road after leaving the school building, Cirrus stared wide-eyed at Jaden, his face full of disbelief. Jaden replied, yeah, we did. No need to shout so loud, right? But that's the spirit world. Cirrus was excited. Did you see the dark magician girl's spirit? Or maybe? Ha ha ha, sorry, no luck there. Jaden grinned. But I did see marauding captain and even dueled him. Hey, Kira. At that moment, Jaden's sharp eyes spotted Kira passing through the crowd, and he immediately ran over enthusiastically. How was your rest yesterday? It was all right. We're about to go fishing. Want to come with us? Jaden invited warmly. Cirrus exclaimed, Big bro, you never told me about this. Kira politely declined, I'm planning to organize my class notes, so I'll head back first. Both Jaden and Cirrus were surprised. Hey? Notes? You take notes. Just then, another voice came from nearby, that's just like you, Kira, treating every class with the same serious attitude. The three of them turned around and immediately saw Alexis standing there, arms crossed and smiling. But I heard a rumor, Alexis asked Kira. Is it true that you were arranged to duel the new teacher, Mr. Ryaga, as his induction opponent? News travels fast. Yeah, that's the case. Jaden was amazed, you get to duel the new teacher? As expected of Kira, so jealous. Be careful, there are some bad rumors about Mr. Ryaga, Alexis lowered her voice. People say he likes to win rare cards from others in duels. If it's him, he'll probably ask you to have an anti-duel. Of course, that's not allowed openly at the academy, so it'll be in private. Hearing this, Kira's face lit up with interest. What a sweet deal. So, he's the same type of duelist as me, hey? But all jokes aside, Kira never took other people's cards outside of duel stakes, nor did he ever proactively ask for anti-duels. Whenever he took cards, it was always to confiscate evildoers' tools as a way to uphold justice. That's right. But if the other side sincerely requests it, it'd be impolite to refuse. Seeing Kira's unconcerned attitude, Alexis became a bit annoyed, take this seriously. Mr. Ryaga's actually really strong. He was on the student council back in his academy days and won a lot of competitions. I heard his resume is impressive now. Got it, thanks for the heads up, Alexis. Kira smiled. Now he remembered. Mr. Ryaga, he was a character in the GX manga. In the manga, he was a complete scoundrel, using his position as a student teacher to force students into anti-duels and arrogantly declaring, these cards will be happier with someone as strong as me. He even used underhanded tricks in the manga. If he was losing, he'd activate a special electromagnetic wave to interfere with his opponent's dual disc, preventing them from activating spell cards. In the manga, his requirement for promotion was to win 50 duels against students. Honestly, Kira found it absurd that no one caught on to his cheating, but most opponents just thought their dual discs malfunctioned. But since events here aren't exactly like the manga, Kira wasn't sure if Ryaga would use such tricks. Just to be safe, he called Mokuba for advice. The conclusion: his current dual disc was the latest smart model on the market, immune to such interference. So, no need to worry about cheating. This was just for peace of mind. Kira figured even without spell cards, he might still win. The next day, at the appointed time, Kira accepted Crowlier's invitation to the Academy Duel Arena. Many students who had heard the news came to watch, especially his fellow RA Yellow dorm mates. What? The new teacher is dueling a student? And it's Kira. Tough luck for the new teacher. Don't say that. What if he's strong? At this point, the duelists had already stood facing each other, exchanged, and shuffled their decks according to the rules. So, you're Fujiki Kira, right? Professor Crowlier can't stop praising you. Ryaga smiled lightly. You flatter me. Kira acted modestly and respectfully. He could guess why Crowlier invited him as the test opponent. On one hand, it was like the professor always calling on him in class, an easy way to earn credits. But this was no regular class demo. If he won, he'd get a lot more credits than usual. The professor already promised this a rare opportunity. Even if he lost, it wouldn't affect him much. On the other hand, Crowlier was probably also interested in seeing Kira's actual strength. As a key student, the professor wanted him to get more practice against experts and to see his real progress. Honestly, Crowlier had always been curious about Kira's true power. So far, Kira's most serious public duel was against Misawa Bastion in the stage test. Even though Misawa thoroughly studied and countered Kira's usual tactics, he was still easily defeated. At least to outsiders, it seemed like Misawa couldn't even force Kira to go all out. Crowlier stood with hands behind his back, smiling as he watched Kira on the field. Kira, let me see just how far your skills have come, non. At this moment, as they shuffled, Ryaga narrowed his eyes and smiled. Professor says you're extraordinary. So, how about upping the stakes a bit? Kira's eyes gleamed. Teacher, you mean? Let's each wager our rare cards. He pushed up his glasses and lowered his voice. The winner gets to pick any one card from the loser. How about it? Kira's polite, sunny image made Ryaga think he was the type of top student with strong cards, especially with Crowlier's support. He was bound to have some valuable cards. Kira looked troubled. Ah? Isn't that a bit much? Ryaga smirked. What, scared? No, I just mean, only one card? Isn't that not exciting enough? Ryaga. Chapter 118, Abyssal Lockdown. Duel. X2. Kira, LP 4000. Ryaga, LP 4000. Looks like I'm going first. Draw. Kira drew a card and immediately played one from his hand. I summon Elemental Hero Bublemon in defense position. Elemental Hero Bublemon, Def 1200. Jaden, from outside the field. Hey? Kira's using the same Elemental Hero deck as me today. But actually, he wasn't. Kira only used Bublemon for draw power, and since Bublemon was also a water attribute, it doubled as ammo for Abyss Soldier's bounce effect. Bubblemon's effect: if I control no other cards, I draw 2 cards from my deck. Anime effect. Next, I activate the spell card Graceful Charity to draw 3 cards and discard 2. Kira continued, then I set 2 cards and end my turn. My turn. Ryaga drew, eyeing Kira's Bublemon. Elemental Hero, a standard deck. But even though he's a first year, Crowlier recommended him he must have something special. Ryaga, I summon Mystery Shell Dragon. A sleek black dimensional dragon, 4 stars, and already boasting 2000 ATK, a rare beater with no drawbacks, highly valuable. Mystery Shell Dragon, ATK 2000. Let's see what you're up to. Ryaga declared. Battle. Mystery Shell Dragon attacks Elemental Hero Bublemon. Kira quickly flipped a back row card, activate Continuous Trap Gravity Bind. All monsters level 4 or higher cannot attack. A powerful gravity field erupted from the trap card, pinning Mystery Shell Dragon in place before it could even move. Gravity Bind. Ryaga frowned. A stall tactic? But Elemental Hero with stall. I've never seen that before. Ryaga, I set a card and end my turn. Kira, my turn, draw. At the same time, his dual disc's graveyard zone flashed, and a monster card popped out automatically. At this moment, the Sinister Serpent I discarded last turn activates its effect. If it's in my graveyard during my standby phase, I can return it to my hand. He picked up Sinister Serpent. Next, I normal summon Abyss Soldier. Abyss Soldier, ATK 1800. A warrior wielding a trident strode out from a curtain of water. Ryaga frowned. Wasn't this supposed to be elemental hero? Abyss Soldier's effect: by discarding a water monster from my hand, I can return a card on the field to its owner's hand. Kira revealed the just returned Sinister Serpent. I discard the water Sinister Serpent to return Mystery Shell Dragon to your hand. Abyss Soldier's trident whirled, a vortex erupted, and Mystery Shell Dragon was swept away, returning to Ryaga's hand. Ryaga. He realized the infinitely recyclable Sinister Serpent could be used every turn as Abyss Soldier's cost, making the bounce effect virtually free. What a troublesome combo! Ryaga grunted. Not bad. But don't forget Bublemon and Abyss Soldier are level 4. With your Gravity Bind, neither can attack. He pushed up his glasses and smirked. Too bad. You cleared my field but still can't attack. Looks like Gravity Bind backfired. Fujiki Kira, you might want to rethink your strategy. Thank you for the advice, teacher. Kira remained polite. But I have my ideas. I activate the spell Terraforming to add a field spell from my deck to my hand. He revealed the card. Field spell: a legendary ocean. His dual disc popped out a special slot. I activate it immediately. A 3D projection of seawater swept the field. The entire arena was submerged, with the lost city of Atlantis all around and sunlight streaming through the water. While a legendary ocean is on the field, all water monsters in both hands and on the field are treated as one level lower, and water monsters gain 200 ATK. Bublemon, level 4-3, ATK 800 1000. Abyss Soldier, level 4-3, ATK 1800 2000. Ryaga, Nanny. The teacher immediately realized how dangerous this combo was. A legendary ocean dropped the level of Kira's water monsters below the Gravity Bind threshold, so Kira's attack lock was lifted, but Ryaga's monsters were still trapped. This was a classic combo from the old Abyss Control deck. The deck had many such single-sided lockdowns using Royal Decree to lock traps, Gravity Bind, and a legendary ocean to lock attacks, all aimed at locking down the opponent from different angles. Not only that, Abyss Soldier's ATK was now boosted to 2000, meaning only a level 3 or lower monster with more than 2000 ATK could beat it in battle. Watching from the stands, Alexis mused, that's just like him, his usual style. True, nodded Misawa, who had quietly shown up. Fujiki Kira is the type who, if given 2 ways to win, will always choose the one that stops his opponent from playing at all. Alexis agreed. Ryaga. He could already feel his blood pressure rising. Bublemon switches to attack position. Battle phase. Kira declared, Abyss Soldier, direct attack. Abyss Soldier surged forward, trident swirling with golden water, aiming straight at Ryaga. Not so fast. Ryaga cried. I activate the trap. A hero emerges. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, your opponent chooses one random card from your hand, then if it is a monster that can be special summoned, special summon it. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. A staple of Jaden's card in the anime. Despite the name, it wasn't a hero support card. Ryaga had 5 cards in hand. Kira picked at random, second from the left. Ha ha ha. Too bad, it's this one. Ryaga revealed the card. Level 6, Dark Triceratops. Dark Triceratops, ATK 2400. Impressive, teacher. My attack won't go through so easily. Kira smiled. In that case, I'll cancel my attack. Battle phase over, main phase 2. He played another card. Set one more card. Turn end. Chapter 119, Teacher, you're too polite. Ryaga, my turn, draw. After drawing, he paused and then smiled. Gravity Bind and a legendary ocean, plus Abyss Soldier and Sinister Serpent? Impressive setup, but too bad, it crumbles before this card. I activate the spell card. Harp's Feather Duster. Destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. The ultimate back row wipe. Ha ha ha. Goodbye, a legendary ocean and Gravity Bind. Your lockdown means nothing to me. Chain, I activate the set card, trap card Reiki Break, Kira responded. I discard a card to destroy one card on the field. He discarded a card. I destroy your dark Triceratops. A demonic hand burst from storm clouds, lightning crashing down, obliterating the dark Triceratops. Ugh, you had a trap too. Ryaga frowned, annoyed at losing his high-level monsters so quickly. But it was fine. But your back row is still gone, thanks to Feather Duster. Gravity Bind and a legendary ocean were destroyed. The beautiful underwater city collapsed in the storm. Your nasty lockdown is finally over. Ryaga smiled again. True, but one of the cards you just destroyed was the spell calling, Kira said. When it's destroyed by an opponent's effect while set, I can set 2 spell cards from my deck. Anime effect. His dual disc immediately let him set 2 cards. I set another a legendary ocean and the continuous spell level limit area B. Ryaga's smile froze. Level limit area B, all level 4 or higher face-up monsters must switch to defense position. It was the spell version of Gravity Bind, an old-school stall staple. And with another a legendary ocean, Kira's lockdown could be reinstated next turn. Ryaga's face twitched. Who the hell taught you to duel like this? Your turn's not over yet, teacher. Kira smiled. TCH, don't need you to remind me. A vein popped on Ryaga's forehead. Calm down, this brat is just trying to tilt you. Continuous spells can't be activated until next turn, so he still had options. I activate Graceful Charity, draw 3, discard 2. He drew, discarded 2, and summoned a monster. I summon Exiled Force. Exiled Force, ATK 1000. Exiled Force's effect, tribute itself to destroy a monster on the field. I tribute it to destroy Abyss Soldier. A violent 1-for-1 removal. The mercenaries swarmed Abyss Soldier and blew themselves up, leaving a smoking crater. Your annoying soldier is gone. Next, I activate Ultra Evolution. Banish 1 dinosaur and 1 machine from my hand or graveyard to special summon a light dinosaur from my hand or deck. Anime effect. Another anime card, only printed in real life 10 years later. I banish Dark Triceratops, Dinosaur, and Fusilier Dragon, the dual mode beast, machine, from my graveyard. The fusion of technology and life, the ultimate evolution. Witness my ace monster. A golden beam shot from Ryaga's deck. The perfect fusion of technology and life after endless evolution. Cyber Dinosaur, appear. A massive white armored dinosaur, gleaming with blue electricity and covered in mechanical parts, stomped onto the field. This was Ryaga's ace monster from the manga. Note, in real cards, its type and effect changed. Cyber Dinosaur, ATK 2500. Not done yet. Spell card Double Attack. Discard a monster to let a monster with lower level attack twice. I discard level 8 Sauropod Brachion to let Cyber Dinosaur attack twice this turn. The students were buzzing. Back row wipe and double attack OTK incoming. This new teacher's pretty strong. If these attacks go through, Kira might. Cyber Dinosaur's 2 attacks meant 5000 damage, and Kira only had Bub Lemon, ATK 800, on the field. Ryaga's eyes were fierce. Before the stall lock returns, the duel will be decided this turn. Battle. First, Cyber Dinosaur attacks Bub Lemon. Cyber Dinosaur lunged, jaws crushing Bub Lemon. Kira staggered back. Kira, LP 4000-2300. Attack succeeded, and Ryaga grinned. Cyber Dinosaur, attack again. Direct attack. I win. Hold on, teacher. You may not have noticed, but the card I discarded as cost for Reggie Break was this. Kira smiled, showing a card in his graveyard. Makira the Destructor. The turn it's sent to the graveyard, I can activate traps from my hand. Ryaga. From the hand? So, when you declared a direct attack, I activate this card from my hand. Kira played a trap. Its hologram appeared. Trap card Drowning Mirror Force. When your opponent declares a direct attack, all their attack position monsters return to the deck. And nanny. Ryaga's face contorted in agony. But it was too late. The blue water barrier formed, and Cyber Dinosaur slammed into it, got swept away, and returned to the deck. Ryaga's eyes were red. My Cyber Dinosaur. And it didn't even go to the hand, it went back to the deck. Now he was left with no cards and no field. A moment ago, he was about to win, and now total reversal. Dueling is like life, ups and downs. With nothing left, he could only pass, gritting his teeth as Kira cheerfully prompted him. My turn, draw. Stand by phase, Sinister Serpent returns to my hand from the graveyard. Kira happily picked up Sinister Serpent. Ryaga's eyes grew even redder. Normal summon a second Abyss Soldier. Abyss Soldier, ATK 1800. Then I activate the 2 cards you helped me search for last turn. First, field spell a legendary ocean. My Abyss Soldier's level drops to 3 again. Then continuous spell level limit area B. All level 4 or higher monsters switch to defense position. Oh, and thanks to a legendary ocean, Abyss Soldier's ATK increases. Abyss Soldier, ATK 1800 2000. Ryaga's face twitched. It's back. That same setup, that same feeling. Abyss Soldier, direct attack. The trident stabbed into his heart. He felt a real chill. Ryaga, LP 4000 2000. Ryaga clutched his chest, gritting his teeth. Set 1 card, turn end. Kira smiled. Your turn, teacher. Ryaga's face was cold. Not over yet. He could still draw. There was still a chance. It's just a one-sided stall lock, a 2000 ATK level 3 beater, and an infinite bounce combo. I'll top deck my way out of this. Activate set card, trap drop off. Kira politely announced. During your draw phase, the card you draw is discarded immediately. Ryaga. The crowd. The card he just drew went straight to the graveyard before he even saw it. The field fell into a long, awkward silence. It was as if a cold wind blew through the arena. Hey, teacher, you're not doing anything this turn? You're too polite. Well, your time's up. My turn, draw. Kira waved his hand. Abyss Soldier, direct attack. Ryaga, LP 2000 LP 0. Chapter 120, The Academic Affairs Office's Invitation. Ryaga, LP 0. With his life points reduced to 0, Ryaga let out a long sigh. It took him several seconds to realize his fist had unconsciously clenched hard. On one hand, he had this sudden urge to beat up the guy in front of him, who looked so polite and proper. On the other hand, he wanted to give Professor Crowlier, who had smiled slyly while arranging this duel and pretending to root for this bastard, a good beating too. Are first-year students at Duel Academy this strong these days? And what was with that duel? Had he just been away from his alma mater too long? Did the teaching philosophy change while he was gone? Who taught this kid to play cards like that? Ryaga seriously suspected that Crowlier's seemingly kind smile was never well-intentioned from the start. Thinking back, no wonder Crowlier had that strange smile when talking about the opponent he'd chosen for Ryaga. Ryaga had been lost in his fantasy of making a splash and rising to glory at the academy, so he hadn't noticed. But looking back now, he realized there might have been a trap. He thought he'd kept his ambitions hidden well. He'd always been respectful and humble with Crowlier, never letting anything slip. So why would the professor send such a monster of a rookie to deal with him? In the stands, Alexis was silent for a while. Another water attribute control deck focused on lockdown tactics. Alexis' expression was a little odd. Although this was consistent with Kira's reputation for stall strategies, the kind of deck that breaks your spirit before your LP, it was still a new twist she'd never seen before. She couldn't help but wonder what was going on inside Kira's head. How did he keep coming up with all these weird strategies that made people's blood pressure skyrocket, and yet, they always seemed effective? She turned to Misawa beside her. Come to think of it, you're the same kind of duelist, right? I remember you have decks with all sorts of different themes. Misawa shook his head, dejected. Don't even mention it. Ever since losing to Kira, he'd been racking his brains over all of Kira's ever-changing countermeasures, and now today he saw even more bizarre new tricks. It was like the math teacher gave you 3 huge problems yesterday, and you spent the whole night solving just one. Before you figured out the rest, today the teacher drops 3 more on you. Your blood pressure just spikes. And this was just the tip of the iceberg of what Kira could do. Who knows what other evil things he's developing in secret? Misawa felt a lot of pressure. The duel ended with Kira happily getting his promised reward. After looking over the cards, Professor Crowlier seemed to have something to say, but in the end, he just nodded slightly in approval. As for Ryaga, it was obvious his dreams of a teaching career were over. And he even thoughtfully handed over his deck. Kira wanted to refuse, but considering it might be disrespectful to the duel and his opponent, he reluctantly accepted with a smile. To be honest, Ryaga's prized rare card Cyber Dinosaur seemed a bit lackluster to Kira. He immediately considered selling it for cash. But that Harpus feather duster Ryaga used during the duel was a real treasure, still a powerful back row clearer even today. With a bunch of new credits in hand, Kira's first move after returning was, of course, to immediately exchange them for the Academy's shopping DP points. Then, as usual, he browsed the new stock at the Academy's store. He picked up a few interesting loose cards, then, scrolling over to the deck building section, he found something new and intriguing. The Ojima series. Later on, this would become the signature gag deck of Chaz, who called it even trash has its uses. It had some unique points. And this deck was probably just there to fill out the catalog. It was dirt cheap compared to the others. Which made sense. Ojimas were common in the GX era and not exactly popular, even Chaz Sojima Black and Ojima Green were cards others had thrown away as useless trash, and he picked them up. Plus, in the GX anime, Ojimas had a bunch of support cards that never got printed. They weren't exactly strong, but there were some fun tricks. Anyway, it was cheap, so Kira bought a set. Ojimas might not be strong, but they were good at tilting your opponent. Especially those three ugly, goofy brothers. Their 3D projections alone could max out your opponent's rage meter. Every time Chaz used the Ojima trio in the anime, his opponents felt insulted and furious. The deck itself was so weak, though, that to make it viable, you had to get creative. Kira was already coming up with ideas. After all, Ojimas had seen some competitive use back in the day, and their deck's nature lent itself to stall and mind games. He just needed a few more pieces to finish the build. Speaking of Chaz, the first round of the Duel Club's freshman tournament was coming up in a few days. If nothing changed, Kira would probably face him in round 2. He wondered how much Chaz had improved since school started. But before that, the Academic Affairs Office finally took action regarding their unauthorized entry into the old dorm. The next morning, a truck that looked like a troop transport stopped forcefully in front of the dormitory. A group of men in black suits and sunglasses barged into the Slifer Red dorm and started banging on doors, scaring the still groggy Professor Lyman out of his wits. The Academy's Academic Affairs Office, they only handle really serious situations. Lyman was terrified. Why are they coming to our dorm? They say life is like a play, and Lyman was a consummate actor who kept up his persona even when nobody was watching. Open up! Someone pounded on the door. Half asleep, Jaden slowly woke, rubbed his eyes, and dragged himself out of bed. What's going on? He yawned. The voice outside came again, if you don't open up, we'll blow the door down. He kept rubbing his eyes. BL blow it up. Suddenly fully awake, Jaden jumped out of bed and opened the door. Standing there was a tall, stern-looking female teacher, surrounded by a group of burly men. You must be the ringleader, Jade Yuki. The teacher asked coldly. Jaden blinked. Hey? Ringleader. You're coming with us to the Academic Affairs Office. Now. At the same time, Kira, who had just finished washing up and was heading to class, got a call on his student terminal. Hello, is this Fujiki Kira? Yes, who's this? Oh, great. I'm a teacher from the Academic Affairs Office. I heard you were present at the old dorm incident the other night. Could you come by and describe what happened? But I have class first period. I was just about to head there. I see. Then when would be a good time for you to come by? I'm free during the second period. Is that okay? Of course. Thank you very much for your cooperation, Kira-kun. The voice on the other end was a gentlewoman. Hope you have a great day. Chapter 121, A Matter of Dignity. Today, Jaden Yuki and others entered the restricted special dorm, violating academy rules. This is a serious matter. Jaden and Cirrus stood in the center of a large, empty room, surrounded by giant screens. Behind each screen sat a member of the Academy's top brass, Chancellor Shepard and Professor Crowley are among them. I'm sorry, I'll do whatever you say. Jaden pressed his palms together, sincerely. Just give me a chance. Honestly, getting expelled wasn't that big a deal to Jaden. What he cared about was that, if kicked out, he wouldn't get to play cards with so many interesting opponents. Well, since even a slacker is begging so hard, I'll be merciful and give you a special chance, non. Professor Crowley grinned. I'll arrange a tag team punishment duel as soon as possible. Is that okay? Jaden, Tag team, punishment duel. Exactly. Jaden Yuki and Cirrus Truesdale, as members of your dorm, will participate in a dorm versus dorm duel. If you win, you'll be acquitted. Jaden perked up at the mention of a duel, instantly forgetting the threat of expulsion. Dorm duel? Sounds fun. Cirrus whispered, isn't this kinda bad, big brother? Professor Crowley, Chancellor, as you see, he agrees. Chancellor Shepard pondered. Well, if that's the case, nothing can be done. Wonderful. Crowley beamed. Then just wait for the notification. I'll arrange your opponents as soon as possible, Non. After the first period, Kira arrived at the Academic Affairs office. The tall female teacher welcomed him politely and made him tea. The morning sunlight streamed into the office, golden spots dancing across the wooden floor like a warm carpet. Delicate porcelain cups steamed, the scent of tea mingling with the fresh air from the window. That's just about all I needed to ask. The teacher smiled. Sorry for making you come in person, Kira-kun. Not at all. Kira waved it off. Cooperating with the Academy's investigation is my duty. Still, you should be careful, the old dorm is a dangerous area, strictly off limits. This time, we'll let it go, but don't wander into such dangerous places again. Don't worry, I won't do it again. Kira patted his chest. Good. She sipped her tea, smiling. I hear you're one of the Academy's brightest new stars. If anything happened to you, we'd have a hard time explaining it. Thank you for your concern. Oh, and one more thing. The teacher leaned forward conspiratorially. She lowered her voice. I heard you're friends with Kaiba, the president himself. Is that true? Kira considered. Well, we do know each other. To call him a friend was a stretch, but denying it outright would be awkward, considering all the favors he'd received. Might as well roll with it. He still had 3 years at the academy, and having a solid backer couldn't hurt. The teacher didn't say anything more, but her expression clearly said, terrifying. After all, the academy was largely funded by Kaiba. Even if it wasn't, in this world, Kaiba's status was unrivaled. Connections in politics might not be as useful as knowing Kaiba. By the way, I heard the final punishment is a dorm duel. Kira asked. Oh, that. Only Jaden Yuki and Cirrus Truesdale, as the ringleaders, have to participate. She smiled. You don't need to worry. I heard they might bring in a legendary duelist as the opponent. She was surprised. How did you? Oh, did Professor Crowley tell you? Bringing in a legendary duelist was Chrono's idea, not even finalized with the Chancellor yet. Only the Academic Affairs Office had been informed. But the teacher remembered Kira was one of Crowley's favorites, so maybe the professor let it slip. If they win, won't they get a ton of credits? She hesitated. Well, probably. Even though this was a punishment duel, if the opponent was a legendary duelist, they couldn't give a reward if Jaden and Cirrus pulled off the upset. Kira took a deep breath. Teacher, I'm ashamed. Teacher. What are you ashamed of? I didn't go to the dorm with Jaden and the others. I went in on my own and just happened to run into them. So, I wasn't instigated, I was just as much a ringleader as Jaden. The others were just accomplices, so I should be punished. The teacher opened her mouth, then after a long pause finally said, well, as long as you know you were wrong, and you have a good attitude, so we'll let it go this time. Kira raised an eyebrow. No, you can't let it go. Otherwise, what will other students think? What about the authority of the Academy's rules? If I get off scot-free, aren't I setting a bad example? Teacher. Shouldn't our lines be reversed right now? Who fights to be punished? Ahem, I'm glad you're so self-aware, she said. But the Academic Affairs Office can't change its decision once made, it's a matter of our authority. So, let's just leave it at that. Kira put on a disappointed face. I see. All right, I understand. He got up, ready to leave. Seeing he wasn't going to argue anymore, the teacher finally breathed a sigh of relief. Seriously, if you went into a punishment duel and lost, could we expel you? If Kira and Jaden lost as a team, it'd look bad to expel one but not the other. What would be the point of the punishment duel then? Thank goodness he didn't press the issue. Just then, she heard Kira's voice from the hallway. Hey, Kaiba? Yeah, it's me. So, the Academy's holding a tag team punishment duel for entering the restricted area, but they're not letting me participate. I mean, they're not giving me a chance to atone. But I feel so guilty. I was wondering if you could have the board contact the school and let me share the blame with my friends. Pfft. The teacher spat out her tea. She rushed out. Wait, hold on. This can be discussed. Kira turned, playing surprised, and put his phone down. Hey? Teacher, why'd you come out? But the moment he put the phone down, she noticed it wasn't even on. She'd been tricked. Kira never intended to call Kaiba over such a trivial thing. So, teacher, does this mean I can accept the punishment? She feebly waved her hand. Fine. Whatever, let things go however they go. She didn't care anymore. That same day, in the Chancellor's office, Chumley Huffington was confessing, I was in the old dorm too, so please let me join Jaden's team. Punish me as well. Me too. Alexis entered at that moment. I was at the old dorm last night, just didn't get caught, she said seriously. Please punish me too. Alexei knew Jaden was strong, but she could see that Sirius was dead weight. Pairing Jaden with Sirius was handicapping him. Alexis worried about her classmates' expulsion. She wanted to take Sirius' spot to improve their odds. Chancellor Shepard smiled. I understand how you feel. But punishment is up to the Academic Affairs Office, and once they've decided, it's never changed. Alexis and Chumley exchanged helpless looks. The reputation of the Academic Affairs Office was well known. They only appeared for serious situations and were famous for swift, decisive action. If they'd decided. Just then, the automatic door opened. The female teacher from the Academic Affairs Office entered. Chancellor, the Academic Affairs Office has convened an emergency internal meeting and wishes to withdraw the punishment for the old dorm incident, she said. We plan to reassign Fujiki Kira and Jaden Yuki as a team for the tag team duel. Chancellor Shepard. Alexis and Chumley. Wait, wasn't the Academic Affairs Office's word supposed to be final? Weren't decisions unchangeable? What happened to your dignity? Chapter 122, Leading the Betrayal. Just like that, the Academic Affairs Office's punishment duel plan was happily changed. Now, Kira and Jaden, the two ringleaders, would team up for the punishment duel. Jaden was fine with this. He was just happy to get to duel anyway. Besides, he'd only just started school and barely knew Sirius, who he hadn't even seen duel in a real match yet. Given the choice, of course, he'd rather team up with Kira, who'd been through life-or-death duels with him in the spirit world. Sirius was even happier. He'd been nervous and wilted ever since hearing about the duel. Now, knowing he'd been replaced and wouldn't drag his big bro down, he was instantly relieved. Everyone was happy with this change. World peace was achieved. But since the opponents still needed to be contacted and scheduled, the duel couldn't happen right away. The Academic Affairs Office notified them that the time was TBD, giving them a chance to get to know each other and adjust their decks for team play. As was Jaden's style, he had no intention of adjusting his deck. Whoever the opponent was, he'd just play like usual. Even if the opponent had some special tactic, he didn't need to overthink it. A true duelist just trusts in their deck no matter the situation, there's always a way. In other words, a mature deck should be able to deal with anything the opponent throws at it, without the duelist having to sweat it. Kira disagreed. The opponents hadn't been announced, but Kira suspected it would be the Paradox brothers, who in the original series were described as having dueled Yugi himself. In GX, these two used the Gate Guardian deck. Though that deck got unexpected upgrades years later, in the GX anime, the brothers didn't have those new cards yet. From the anime's perspective, those future upgrades were still untapped potential. With Jaden as his teammate, Kira's mind was already spinning. Jaden's Destiny draw luck should easily overpower the Paradox brothers, making for some epic top deck moments. If Kira could harness Jaden's luck, he might be able to pull off some combos that would be impossible on his own. But no rush. The duel date hadn't even been set, so there was still time to prepare. Meanwhile, the freshman round of the Duel Club's tournament began. As always, the Busta Senpai presided over the event. When she saw Kira arrive, she looked pleased. You made it. I heard about your team duel. I thought you'd be too busy to join and might have to miss the tournament. How could I miss such a fun duel? It's a great chance to bond with the new club members too, Kira said cheerfully. Besides, dueling for credits and the chance to pick a card from the club's vault as champion, there's no way he'd skip that. But the new club members around him had mixed expressions. Go away. Who wants to bond with you? The Busta senpai laughed, unable to stop herself. I'm glad you came. I was worried you wouldn't. She didn't finish the thought. If you didn't show up, how much less fun would this year's tournament be? Alright, the Duel Club Freshman Cup is officially starting. Everyone, please prepare for your first round matches according to the pairings. And so, happy duel time began again. Kira's first opponent was a fellow yellow dorm student. He remembered this guy, he'd faced him in the dorm exchange match before, but this time, things looked different. Kira went first, summoning Abyss Soldier, set 2 cards, and passed. His opponent trash-talked him, saying, "Is that all you've got? I've surpassed you now. Let me show you my evolved dueling." With a dramatic gesture, he set 4 cards in his back row. Kira paused. This scene feels familiar. The yellow dorm student laughed loudly, "This time I'm not the same as before. Come, don't hold back if you can, break through my defenses and attack me. Hit me in the face." Kira had never heard such a strange request, but, well, as you wish. Activate continuous trap royal decree. The yellow dorm student spit blood. He stared at Kira, disbelief on his face. You're leading the betrayal? Kira easily won the first round, easier than last time. Royal decree plus Abyss Soldier locked it down, making it feel like beating up newbies in his pre-academy days. The club matches continued. The Busta senpai watched Kira's duels from the stands, focused almost entirely on him. She saw scenes of bike crashes and the gunshots of the one-eyed Don Zalug. Torpedoes from Submarineroid, Abyss Soldier swinging his trident. His opponents could only respond with wails. Others might not get it, but the Busta senpai was loving every minute. She knew this year's tournament wouldn't be boring with this freshman around. Looking around, she noticed this year's Freshman Cup had more spectators than ever. Many upperclassmen had come to watch, grinning as they pointed at the devastated freshmen, their smiles a sharp contrast to the newbies' tearful faces. She even spotted Watanabe Shuaki, who'd suffered most at the hands of Kira during the club entry test. Shuaki was fixated on Kira's matches, smiling even brighter than his friends. With win after win, Kira soon made it to the semifinals, facing a girl from Obelisk Blue. I activate the equip spell Big Bang Shot, equipping it to your Archfiend of Gilfer. Then, I activate my Abyss Soldier No. 1's effect, discarding Sinister Serpent to bounce Big Bang Shot back to my hand. Since Big Bang Shot leaves the field, your Archfiend of Gilfer is banished. Girl. Then I reactivate Big Bang Shot, equipping it to your Field Commander Roz. Then, Abyss Soldier No. 2 bounces Big Bang Shot again, and Field Commander Roz is also banished. Girl. Kira, third time, Big Bang Shot equips to my own Abyss Soldier No. 1, raising its ATK by 400. Abyss Soldier No. 1, ATK 1800 2200. Abyss Soldier No. 2, ATK 1800. Both Abyss Soldiers attack directly. Girl, LP 4000 LP 0. Banished twice in OTKD, the girl collapsed to the floor, her expression as messed up as her hair. Who am I? Where am I? Why am I dueling? Mom, I want to drop out. Meanwhile, Chaz, who'd also made it to the finals, watched and unconsciously clenched his fists. This was the moment he'd been waiting for, his second chance. This time, it had to be different. P.S. Pft. Chapter 123, Chaz Evolves? When the finals arrived, the Dueling Club venue was now surrounded by an even bigger crowd of onlookers. That Chaz Princeton is going up against Fujiki Kira, hey? Both are this year's hot new rookies. Haven't you heard? This is a grudge match, they've played before. Hey? Really? Yet, before enrollment, at the Moonlight Cup. Chaz got knocked out in the quarterfinals by Kira. At this moment, the Busta senpai was already seated in the high stands, analyzing, but, after observing for a while since they came to the Duel Club, I've noticed that Chaz Princeton is very different from when he first started. Her companion asked curiously, different how? From his deck to his tactics, and a lot of things I can't even describe. He's gone through an all-around transformation. But how much stronger he's gotten, I can't say for sure. Well, since it's a grudge match, Chaz probably really doesn't want to lose, right? She revealed a look of anticipation. Let's see for ourselves where this duel is heading. At this point, both duelists had stepped into the final arena. Thanks to you, after the last match I had a rough time in front of my two older brothers, Chaz said in a low voice, but this time will be different. Funny, I was thinking the same thing. Today is not like last time. Kira smiled and activated his dual disc. Chaz snorted, your composure ends now. Since enrollment, I've undergone my transformation. Prepare to witness the dueling style of an elite among elites. Duel. X2. Kira, LP 4000. Chaz, LP 4000. I have the first turn, draw. Chaz declared. I activate the spell card of spell containment. Draw 2 cards from my deck. But this turn, I can't activate any other spells or set any cards except this one. Anime card. He added the drawn cards to his hand, then picked another card from his hand. I summon Twin-Headed Behemoth in defense position. Twin-Headed Behemoth, Def 1200. Turn end. Kira, my turn, draw. He quickly revealed 2 cards from his hand. The effect of Machina Fortress in my hand. I can special summon it by discarding machine monsters from my hand whose total levels equal 8 or more, from my hand or graveyard. I discard the level 7 Machina Fortress itself, and the level 4 Machine V Tiger Jet from my hand to the graveyard. In the fires of endless war, a fortress unbreakable is forged. Machina Fortress, summon. Heavy treads rumbled over the field, a mighty cannon locking onto its target, the hulking fortress appeared before Kira. Machina Fortress, ATK 2500. Chaz frowned, this time your deck is a Machine Union hybrid. Of course, at this moment, Chaz didn't realize that the V Tiger Jet being discarded was, in a sense, a card he'd once owned himself. You could say this was an NTR across space and time. Machina Fortress, attack Twin-Headed Behemoth. The fortress's cannon thundered, golden shells crackling with arcs of electricity. The dragon was pierced through and shattered on the spot. Kira, then I set 2 cards face down. Turn end. At the end phase, the effect of Twin-Headed Behemoth activates. Chaz called. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, during the end phase, it can special summon itself with 1000 ATK/def. But this effect can only be used once per duel. Twin-Headed Behemoth, Def 1000. This was a popular will effect monster in the early days, because it could trigger whether destroyed by battle or effect, and its resurrection at the end phase made it hard to interfere with. Kira eyed the revived Twin-Headed Behemoth. Another dragon type. Is he veering toward the manga Chaz? Manga Chaz was truly the number 2 guy, much more impressive than the comic relief in the anime. After obtaining his signature Spirit Light and Darkness Dragon, even Jaden couldn't beat Chaz in the manga. The final boss fight was a 2-on-1, Jaden and Chaz versus the boss, giving Chaz lots of respect. If Chaz could evolve in that direction, it'd be good for him. My turn. Chaz drew. First, quick play spell Mystical Space Typhoon, destroy your left set card. A storm whipped up a set card, black lightning shattered it a bottomless trap hole. Kira wasn't surprised, just shrugged. After all, if you're dueling him, it's no shock for Chaz to be running a full set of typhoons. Next, spell card destruction. Both players discard their hands and draw the same number of cards. They both discarded and redrew. Then I activate trade-in. Discard a level 8 monster to draw 2 cards. Chaz said, I discard level 8 Tyrant Dragon. He sent the monster to the graveyard. Then draw 2. He drew with a flourish, the wind swirling his blue uniform. Catching sight of one of his new cards, Chaz smirked. It's here. He shouted. Ever since meeting you again at this academy, I haven't stopped thinking about that Moonlight Cup match. Night after night, I couldn't sleep. Kira feigned surprise, you think about me every night. A vein popped on Chaz's forehead, but he suppressed his anger. No, this is Kira's usual trick. Losing composure is nothing, but losing focus in the duel is fatal. Don't be fooled. Today is the day I get past this barrier and move forward. Watch as I crush you with my new, strongest power and bury my shameful past. The effect of Hardened Armed Dragon in my hand. I can special summon it by sending a level 8 or higher monster from my hand to the graveyard. I discard level 8 another verse dragon to the graveyard and special summon Hardened Armed Dragon. Hardened Armed Dragon, ATK 1500. Kira, you have a lot of high-level monsters in hand, hey. But he recognized this card. Hardened Armed Dragon, if you tribute summon a level 7+ monster with it, that monster can't be destroyed by card effects. Back in early Yu-Gi-Oh!, this was powerful protection for tribute monsters. Most common removal spells/traps couldn't deal with it. In the modern game, even immune to all effects monsters aren't always safe, but at the time it was strong. It was clear Chaz was well prepared for disruption, packing many typhoons and anti-removal effects. Chaz raised a card, as if dark currents swirled around his arm. Witness my new, strongest power. I tribute twin-headed behemoth and hardened armed dragon. Dragon of the end from endless darkness, become the sword that cleaves all and brings victory to me. Dark End Dragon, summon. A swirling vortex of darkness, as if the darkness itself had taken monstrous form. Every scale shimmered with cold light, black armor as if forged from the essence of night. Dark End Dragon, ATK 2600. Kira. He had to admit, he was surprised to see this. His first thought, how are you using a synchro monster? But then he remembered, in the original, Dark End Dragon was an effect monster. In GX manga, Light End Dragon and Dark End Dragon were like Chaz says Light and Darkness Dragon, two sides, both level 8 tribute monsters. But when made into real cards, they became synchros, which made Kira almost forget. This is the embodiment of my new power, Dark End Dragon. Chaz's coat flared in the wind as he stood arms crossed before his dragon. Today, I will break through and keep moving forward. Chapter 124, Better use this against you. Chaz's new ace, Dark End Dragon. Watch, Kira, this is my new strength. I activate Dark End Dragon's effect. Chaz declared, once per turn, it loses 500 ATK to send one of your monsters straight to the graveyard. Dark End Dragon loses 500 ATK, and Fortress goes to the graveyard. Dark Evaporation. Dark End Dragon, ATK 2600 ATK 2100. The Black Dragon roared, its power like a black hole. The Steel Fortress was overwhelmed, all resistance futile, like a lone boat in a storm. But now, Fortress's effect activates. Kira waved, when targeted by an opponent's monster effect, I can look at your hand and discard one card from it. The Fortress, struggling in the dark storm, aimed its cannon at Chaz, firing a final shot before being buried. I won't let you have your way. Chaz quickly played another card to the duel disc. Quick play spell Book of Moon. Change one monster on the field to a face-down defense position. I target Fortress. A spellbook appeared, a crescent moon rising. The struggling Fortress was turned face down, losing all resistance in the dark vortex. Now, during effect resolution, Fortress is no longer face up, so its discard effect doesn't apply. Chaz pointed to Kira's field. Be buried by Dark End Dragon's power. The dying struggle of the Fortress was in vain, all that remained was the rumbling at the vortex's center, like a demon's whisper. Not bad, you've improved. Kira nodded. Maybe Chaz underestimated him in their first duel, but now his aura seemed stronger. Battle phase go. Dark End Dragon, direct attack. The Black Dragon unleashed its breath, black flames sweeping across Kira's field. Kira, LP 4000 LP 1900. Looking good, Kira said. Of course, I've been preparing for this rematch for a long time. My state is at its best. Chaz replied, battle phase ends, but my turn isn't over yet. From my hand, quick play spell Super Rejuvenation. At this turn's end phase, for each dragon discarded or tribute this turn, I draw that many cards. This turn, card destruction discarded 2 dragons, trade-in discarded Tyrant Dragon, Hair-Deaned Armored Dragon's effect discarded another Verse Dragon, tribute Hardened Armed Dragon and Twin-Headed Behemoth, 6 in total. So, at end phase, I draw. He drew a handful of cards all at once. 6 cards. Not bad, that's Dragon's best draw engine. Kira mused. That's some crazy draw power. You'd better get serious now. Chaz snorted, I told you, I've transformed. Only by defeating your full strength does it mean something. Why do you all think I'm not serious? Kira sighed, my turn, draw. Kira drew. Spell card Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards. With Hardened Armored Dragon, Dark End Dragon now had destruction immunity, letting it resist a lot of removal spells/traps. It's best to use this deck against you. Kira revealed a card. Continuous spell Different Dimension Hanger. When activated, banish 3 level 4 or lower Union monsters from my deck. Anime card. 3 cards automatically popped from his deck. He revealed the Union trio, originally Chaz. Banish Y Dragon Head, Z Metal Tank, and W Wing Catapult. The red, gold, and blue machines were sucked into a vortex. Chaz's expression grew grave. That's the combo you used against Alexis, right? Kira, normal summon X Head Cannon. X Head Cannon, ATK 1800. Now, different dimension hangers effect when I summon a monster, special summon related union monsters from the banished zone. So, I special summon Y Dragon Head, Z Metal Tank. Y Dragon Head, ATK 1500. Z Metal Tank, ATK 1500. Then X, Y, Z banished and combined. Mechanical arms linked, and parts locked together with precision. The roar of machinery, 3 mechs merging under electromagnetic force. The triple combined mech landed heavily, twin cannons and dragon head aimed at the opponent's field. XYZ Dragon Cannon, Fusion Summon. XYZ Dragon Cannon, ATK 2800. Chaz frowned. As expected. He remembered XYZ Dragon Cannon's effect. By discarding a card, you can destroy any card on the opponent's field. But he still had Hardened Armored Dragon's effect as a backup. Effect destruction wouldn't work on Dark End Dragon now. Firing the cannon would just waste a card. With that in mind, Chaz narrowed his eyes. Come, fire at Dark End Dragon. But then he noticed Kira smiling at him. Chaz's heart skipped a beat. What's with that all-seeing smile? Activate face down. Kira revealed the back row. Trap card Super Team Buddy Force Unite. Select a face-up monster, special summon monsters with different names but the same type from hand or graveyard. I select XYZ Dragon Cannon, and special summon V-Tiger Jet from the graveyard. V-Tiger Jet, ATK 1600. Chaz's pupil shrank, that one's a union too. Right. Now, different dimension hangers effect triggers again special summon W Wing Catapult. W Wing Catapult, ATK 1300. Monsters summoned with hanger can't attack or be tribute, but they can combine. Kira said, combine W Wing Catapult and V-Tiger Jet. VW Tiger Catapult, Fusion Summon. VW Tiger Catapult, ATK 2000. Now, XYZ Dragon Cannon and VW Tiger Catapult further combine. Kira made a sweeping gesture. Combine into the unstoppable Dragon Cannon, unleash power to shatter all. Quintuple Fusion. Level 8, VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon. With a metallic screech, the two combined mechs disassembled and reassembled, merging as one. The battlefield shook with a deafening roar as the fusion giant stood tall, every inch of armor gleaming. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon, ATK 3000. Chaz's face darkened. You summoned the VWXYZ Quintuple Fusion in one turn. Kira feigned surprise. After all, you invented this combo yourself, just in another world line. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon effect, once per turn, banish one card on your field. Kira pointed at Dark End Dragon. Target, Dark End Dragon. Dimensional Bombardment. The steel giant fired its cannon, energy piercing space itself. Hardened Armored Dragon's effect only blocked destruction, not banishing. Dark End Dragon vanished in a blaze of cannon fire and dimensional distortion. Now, Catapult Cannon, direct attack. Divine Justice. Of course, the skill name was made up. Monster skills aren't written on cards, so duelists make them up. You could call it Kamehameha and no one would care. The Catapult Cannon fired on all cylinders, a rainbow of beams streaking across the field, swallowing Chaz in a dazzling display like fireworks. Ugh! Chaz, LP 4000 LP 1000. Chaz was knocked back by the blast, scrambling to get up, gritting his teeth. Damn it! Kira, set 2 cards, turn end. Chapter 125, The Hand Traps from Within. Chaz, my turn, draw. Once again, he was under pressure, and his LP reversed. Chaz clenched his teeth. So, it's the same as before? So much effort, so much preparation. He couldn't allow himself to fall again, especially not here, not in front of this guy. Quick play spell, burial from a different dimension, return up to 3 banished monsters to the graveyard. I return Dark End Dragon. The black dragon's shadow appeared, sinking into the graveyard. Then equip spell, premature burial. Chaz revealed a card. Pay 800 LP, select a monster in your graveyard and special summon it in attack position, then equip this card. Chaz, LP 1000 LP 200. His LP was now a flickering candle, a vortex erupted in the graveyard, and the fierce black dragon returned. Revive Dark End Dragon. Dark End Dragon, ATK 2600. Busta Senpai in the stands, he's revived Dark End Dragon again. If he uses its effect to get rid of VWXYZ, then attacks directly, that would be a dramatic reversal. Indeed, a nearby senior nodded, Chaz's new ace, Dark End Dragon, is a scary monster. But via this revival, Dark End Dragon loses its destruction immunity, Kira said. Now I activate my set card, Trap Card Bottomless Trap Hole. When your opponent summons a monster with 1500 plus ATK, destroy and banish it. A dark pit opened beneath the dragon, leading straight to another dimension. Without hardened armored dragon's protection, Dark End Dragon couldn't resist. I knew it wouldn't be that easy, Chaz shouted, quick play spell duality. By tributing a light or dark monster, special summon a monster of the opposite attribute from your hand. Manga effect. Also, a card from the manga Chaz was only made real after many years and effect changes. I tribute the Dark End Dragon. A storm of darkness, the black dragon was swallowed up. Then dazzling light burst forth, holy and blinding, piercing the darkness. Dispel the darkness, let the light shine, illuminate the path to victory. Light End Dragon, summon. From the light appeared a majestic dragon, eyes like diamonds, wings like radiant halos, exuding overwhelming power. Light End Dragon, ATK 2600. This was Chaz's first time revealing his new ace in public so strong and beautiful. The holy dragon was a sharp contrast to the dark dragon just defeated. You even saved a counter for traps, Kira smiled, that's real progress. Humph, your annoying attitude ends here. Chaz revealed 2 more cards. Spell card Wonder Clover. By discarding a level 4 plant from my hand, one monster I control can attack twice this turn. I discard Mystic Tomato, so Light End Dragon can attack twice. Busta Senpai frowned, but even so, Light End Dragon's ATK is lower than catapult cannons, so extra attacks don't matter. But no one doubted Chaz had something planned. Battle Light End Dragon attacks VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon. Spectators, attacking with a weaker monster. Chaz declared, at this moment, Light End Dragon's effect. When battling, it loses 500 ATK, and the opponent's monster loses 1500 ATK until end of turn. He raised his arm. Light expansion. Blinding white light exploded from the white dragon, swallowing the steel machine. Light End Dragon, ATK 2600-2100. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon, ATK 3000-1500. Spectators, the ATK reversed. Now Light End Dragon has the advantage, destroy that mech. Chaz shouted. The white hot light pierced VWXYZ's armor, shattering the fusion giant. Kira, LP 1900 LP 1300. One more attack. Chaz shouted. With Wonder Clover, Light End Dragon attacks again. Light Ascension. White light surged like a tidal wave, countless blades slashing toward Kira. Chaz held his breath, eyes wide, afraid to miss a moment. Victory. But not yet. Boom. The light crashed into an illusory barrier, a translucent machine appearing to shield Kira. Nanny! Chaz exclaimed. Kiteroid in my graveyard once per duel, I can make battle damage from a direct attack 0. Kira smiled, you discarded it with card destruction. Looks like hand-hate effects have risks. Ugh. Chaz twitched. Kiteroid. That feeling of victory within reach, only for it to vanish like waking from a dream. He almost needed heart medicine. But I still have the advantage. Then I set a card, turn end, Chaz said coldly. He still had one last card, one last chance. My turn, draw, Kira said, spell card of adversity. If your opponent controls a special summoned monster and you control none, draw 2 cards. Anime card. After drawing, he revealed a card. Equip spell Dimensional Catapult. I can revive VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon from the graveyard, ignoring summoning conditions, and equip this card, it loses its effects. Anime card. Also, a support card used by Chaz in the anime was never made into a real card. By this effect, VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon is revived. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon, ATK 3000. Then, Machina Fortress's effect in the graveyard. I can special summon it by discarding machine monsters from my hand with a total level 8+. I discard level 8 Machina Megaform Fortress returns. A vortex opened, and the armed fortress returned. Machina Fortress, ATK 2500. Busta Senpai swallowed. In an instant, he summoned 2 powerful monsters and reversed the game. These days, most duelists struggle to summon even one high-level monster. Both players fielding big monsters non-stop. Truly elite. Are all this year's freshman monsters? Battle, Kira said. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon attacks Light End Dragon. Catapult Cannon's barrels locked on, energy beams and rockets fired, threatening to swallow the Holy Dragon. Busta Senpai, he's attacking even knowing Light End Dragon's effect. On this field, by calculation, he should attack with Fortress first. If Fortress attacks first, Light End Dragon's effect drops Fortress to 1000 while Light End Dragon becomes 1600. Fortress is destroyed, and Kira takes 600 damage. Then VWXYZ attacks, Light End Dragon's effect again, Catapult Cannon drops to 1500, but Light End Dragon drops to 1100. Chaz has 200 LP left. If the attack lands, Kira wins. So why attack with VWXYZ first? Miscalculation? I don't know what you're planning, but at this moment, Light End Dragon's effect drops itself by 500, Catapult Cannon by 1500. Light Expansion. Light End Dragon, ATK 2100-1600. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon, ATK 3000-1500. Whatever you're planning, this is the final blow. Chaz declared, flipping his last card. Damage Step Quick Play Spell, Forbidden Chalice. Target one face-up monster, it gains 400 ATK, and its effects are negated. Oh? So you're negating? Ha ha ha. That's right, I'm negating my own Light End Dragon's effect. Chaz laughed. Light End Dragon's effect is negated, so its ATK returns to normal, plus gains 400 more. Light End Dragon, ATK 1600 2600 3000. The crowd gasped. Negating its effect to recover ATK and even gain more, what a clever use. The self-debuff is continuous, so negation restores its ATK, but the opponent's ATK drop is a one-time effect, so Catapult Cannon stays at 1500 until end of turn. If the attack lands, Kira takes 1500 damage. Chaz's comeback is real. It's over. Light End Dragon, counterattack. Light Ascension. Not so fast. Kira interrupted with a smile. Activate Set Card Trap, Ambushed Shield. Anime card. A trap once used by Pharaoh Adam in the original series, covering Kybus monsters. Tribute a monster at its death to a target monster's ATK until end of turn. Since this is an ATK change, it can be activated during the damage step. The field won't revert even if the monster count changes. Chaz's face changed. Nanny. I tribute Machina Fortress, its 1600 def is added to Catapult Cannon. Machina Fortress dissolved into golden light, energy surging into Catapult Cannon, the steel giant powered up. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon, ATK 1500 3100. The crowd gasped again. ATK reversed again. Busta Senpai clutched her chest, even in this situation. Damn it. Chaz's face twisted. He'd done so much. Was this wall still insurmountable? But it wasn't over. Because Fortress was tribute, Kira had no more attackers this turn. Light End Dragon would survive, and Chaz would be left with 100 LP. Not over yet. Do you know why I attacked with VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon? Kira suddenly asked. Chaz blinked. Hey? How should I know? I don't know why, but it just feels right to finish our duel with this guy, Kira smiled. Of course, only if I'm confident it's lethal, otherwise, it'd be disrespectful, right? Chaz's pupil shrank. What does he mean lethal? Is it possible he still has a counter? From my graveyard, I activate the trap skill successor. During my turn, I can banish it from the graveyard to give a monster 800 ATK until end of turn. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon, ATK 3100 3900. Chaz's eyes went wide. You even have graveyard traps? Is this another hand trap from the start? Chaz was about to cough up blood. What kind of inside job hand traps are these? This is the finale. Kira said, catapult cannon, attack. Divine justice. A barrage of rockets and cannon fire swept the field. Light End Dragon was consumed, explosions erupting in Chaz's field. Chaz, LP 200 LP 0.
Thanks for listening.